Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Battle Through the Heavens based on novel. So let's start. Xiaoyang looked at the light pillar which had covered him. His face was covered with a lost expression. Due to some unknown reason, he could vaguely sense that the dou qi within his body had begun to fluctuate in a strange fashion. That feeling was as though it had met something of the same origin. It is heavenly flame dou qi. Xiaoyang mused for a moment before his eyes flashed. He came to a sudden comprehension. The dou qi within his body was tempered by the swallowing of many heavenly flames using the flame mantra. This kind of characteristic was similar to that of the Qiu Shi ancient god. After all, the latter was a heavenly flame. It was not unbelievable for these to be such a feeling. Xiaoyang, it seems that the inheritance of the ancient god had chosen you. Jiyu Yuan looked at the light pillar that covered Xiaoyang, and his eyes involuntarily felt a sense of loss. Even he was unable to maintain his calmness in front of the inheritance of the ancient god. After all, he had also been chasing after that level for thousands of years. However, Jiyu Yuan understood that he was unable to forcefully do anything about it. The inheritance of the ancient god would choose its own inheritor. All of them had clearly been eliminated during the selection by the light earlier. Moreover, Xiaoyang could be considered his son-in-law. It was not difficult for Jiyu Yuan to accept the former becoming an elite dou di. Everyone revealed an expression of envy after hearing this. They began to cup their hands together and congratulate Xiaoyang. Although their tone was quite envious, there was a greater amount of joy in them. Regardless of who the ancient god inheritance selected, they would at the very least possess an opportunity to fight with Hun Tendi. The word luck really leaves one speechless, Zhu Kuan sighed. He immediately said, since the ancient god inheritance had chosen you, you should just accept it. As long as you are able to advance to the dou di class before Hun Tendi, this calamity will naturally be resolved. Xiaoyang hesitated for a moment before nodding quietly. He was well aware of the current situation. Once Hun Tendi successfully complete the final step of the D-tier embryonic pill, the alliance would definitely suffer the most cruel form of vengeance. Given the character of the Hun clan, they would not feel any mercy even if they slaughtered an entire clan. Everyone please be rest assured that I, Xiaoyang, will definitely do my best. Xiaoyang cupped his hands together towards everyone and spoke in a deep voice. Ha ha. As for the Hun clan and Hun Tendi, we will do our best to stop them. Hopefully, we will be able to hold out until you exit your retreat. Yang Jin laughed. I wish to keep this square into the heavenly tomb. I might be able to gain more time in that place. Xiaoyang mused for a moment before sweeping his eyes around him and said. The heavenly tomb, this is a good idea. The flow of time is slower in that place compared to the outside world. In this way, you will be able to gain some extra time. Jiyu Yuan nodded. Let's not waste any more time. I will act now. Xiaoyang worked with lightning-fast speed. After having decided on a plan, he waved his sleeve. A huge spatial crack appeared in the sky. After which, it spread apart and devoured the square and stone statue into it. Uncle Jiyu, if the alliance was to be defeated and is unable to fight, please shatter this jade piece. I will immediately exit my retreat. Xiaoyang flicked his finger. A spiritual jade piece flew towards Jiyu Yuan. Jiyu Yuan nodded after receiving the spiritual jade piece. It was not impossible for such an event to occur. I will inform Zun and the rest about this matter. Jiyu Yuan kept the piece of jade. His eyes stared at Xiaoyang as he softly said, everything is up to you. The expressions of Lei Ying and the rest were stern. They cupped their hands together solemnly as they faced Xiaoyang. If Xiaoyang succeeded, the situation would be turned around. If he failed, everyone here would likely be unable to escape being annihilated. Xiaoyang let out a deep breath as he looked at the many stern faces. He was indeed someone with a hard life. He had just rescued his father, only to end up with such a heavy mountain-like burden on his shoulder. However, he must not fail this time around. Xiaoyang quietly cupped his hands together towards everyone. He lifted his head and looked towards the incomparably large light cauldron in the distant sky. At the middle of the light cauldron was a spreading sea of blood. It appeared as though there was a human figure vaguely sitting at that spot. Hun Tendi, next, let's see who will be the first to reach that stage. Xiaoyang's eyes were locked onto the sea of blood. He suddenly turned around and walked into the slowly shutting spatial crack. After which, his figure and the crack vanished. Xiao Yan and the rest looked at Xiaoyang's disappeared figure. His hands were involuntarily clenched. This subsequent period of time would test their ability. Hopefully, we will be able to hold out until Xiaoyang exit his retreat. Xiao Yan muttered to himself. Immediately, he quickly landed onto the large hall. Everyone hurriedly followed. Subsequently, many orders were being issued in an orderly manner. The enormous alliance army was mobilized at this moment. A sea of blood scattered in the distant sky. That rich bloody scent filled the land. An extremely abundant energy filled the sea of blood. The middle of the sea of blood was a floating blood lotus. A figure with scattered hair sat on it. Vast and mighty endless energy continued to gather from the sea of blood and the surroundings. Finally, they surged into that figure. That human figure appeared like a bottomless pit in the face of the endless amount of energy. It allowed the vast and mighty energy, which could even fill an elite doshing to the point of exploding, to pour wildly into it without showing the slightest trace of being full. Huh! The human figure with both eyes tightly shut on the blood lotus, suddenly opened his eyes after having detected something. Those eyes appeared to be filled with blood, causing one to tremble despite not feeling cold. This ripple. Hun Tendi frowned slightly. He could detect a slight fear a moment earlier. However, that feeling had already vanished when he was about to carefully observe it. Was I mistaken? Hun Tendi muttered to himself. The huge formation had enveloped the entire central plains. Even though he had already formed an initial merger within the D-tier embryonic pill, he still felt a great amount of pressure. If it was not because the formation was maintained by the strong foundation of the Hun clan, it was likely that it would already cracked apart. He was unable to split his attention and observe those slight changes over the central plains due to the need for him to remain focused. Hun Tendi muttered softly to himself. A fluctuation suddenly appeared behind him and a black flame person appeared. It was the nihility devouring flame. How is the clan? Hun Tendi did not turn around as he asked in a faint voice. Over 1 million descendant citizens had been thrown into the blood pool. However, it is still insufficient to maintain the formation. The nihility devouring flame looked at the back. A flash appeared in his eyes. Originally, both he and Hun Tendi were of equal status. However, after Hun Tendi had obtained the D-tier embryonic pill, this relationship had become uneven. Nevertheless, he did not have any solution to this. All he could do was to continue enduring. Throw all the descendant citizens we have captured from the Ling, Shu and Yao clans into the blood pool. If it is still insufficient, throw our clan's descendant citizens into the blood pool. I require sufficient energy to complete the final step of completing this pill. Hun Tendi spoke indifferently. Even our clan's descendant citizens has to be thrown into the blood pool. The nihility devouring flame was startled as he said. That will lead to the objection of many elders. You should understand how to deal with those who objects. Hun Tendi laughed faintly. The blood lotus was rotated. Immediately, those blood-covered eyes looked towards the nihility devouring flame and softly said, "You should understand that I will pay any price in order to successfully step into that level. Remember, it is any price. The Hun clan will definitely be destroyed if I fail. At that time, even you will have difficulty escaping." Black flames danced within the eyes of the nihility devouring flame. Finally, he nodded. "Relax, once I am able to advance into that level, I will also think of all ways for you to break through." Hun Tendi laughed. "However, you must also perform your task before that well." "Understood. I will do as you say." The nihility devouring flame nodded. After which, his body moved and he disappeared from the sea of blood. Hun Tendi smiled in a satisfied manner, as he looked at the spot where the nihility devouring flame had disappeared. A faint strange expression flashed across his eyes. The Hun clan was able to survive until today, because of the nihility devouring flame. This was an extremely important matter to the entire Hun clan. In the hearts of many elders, they had even thought of the nihility devouring flame as the most important person within the Hun clan. After all, as long as he existed, the Hun clan would not decline because of bloodline issues. From a certain point of view, even Hun Tendi might not be as important as the nihility devouring flame in the hearts of certain members in the clan. This situation was naturally detected by Hun Tendi. However, he had never spoke anything with regards to this. This was because he understood that the old Hun clan did indeed need to rely on the nihility devouring flame. However, this kind of reliance would disappear from now onwards. At that time, the nihility devouring flame would no longer be of any use. If I become a Dodi, I would need to refine a good life flame. Hun Tendi laughed softly. Those blood-filled eyes appeared incomparably dark and cold. Immediately, the blood lotus was rotated. Both of his eyes were slowly shut, as he continued to absorb the vast and mighty energy that was forcefully extracted from the central plains. An extremely faint black glow quietly flashed past the sea of blood as Hun Tendi turned around. A tiny black fire seedling was quietly extinguished from the sea of blood. This scene had lasted for only a short moment. Additionally, it was hidden by the vast and mighty energy of the sea of blood. Even Hun Tendi was unable to detect it. The nihility devouring flame, who had exited the Hun realm, looked at the hundreds of thousand feet large blood pool below him with a cold and indifferent expression. There was a continuous stream of people being thrown into it from around the blood pool. Miserable screech scattered across the sky. The nihility devouring flame watched this scene indifferently. The black flame over his finger suddenly flashed. Immediately, his body stiffened slightly. Both of his fists were slowly clenched. A densely cold expression flashed across his eyes. Heavenly Tomb. A huge square floated in the sky, while 100,000 feet large stone statue stood on it. A faint pressure enveloped the entire heavenly tomb, causing the many spiritual bodies within it to feel a horror that originated from within their souls. Xiaoyang stood on the square. His eyes looked at the incomparably large, ancient god stone statue in front of him. He inhaled a deep breath of air before respectfully bowing towards the stone statue. After which, his body slowly rose into the air. Finally, he paused at the hole on the chest of the stone statue. The surface of the hole was filled with a water ripple-like faint luster. This light might appear weak, but Xiaoyang did not dare to slight it. This was because this seemingly weak light had easily pressed experts like Jiu Yuan and Zhu Kuan onto their knees earlier. Little Yi had also flashed and appeared on Xiaoyang's shoulder at this moment. Purifying demonic lotus flame surged and wrapped around his body. Success or defeat will be determined by this, Xiaoyang muttered. A determined expression rose on his face as he stepped forward and directly strided into the stone hole. Buzz. Xiaoyang penetrated through the weak light. He could clearly sense a kind of probing sweeping past the surface of his body. Everything within his body, including even his soul, could not escape from this inspection. This feeling was as though all of his secret had been exposed at this moment. Although Xiaoyang was being carefully scanned, it was fortunate that the light did not display any rejection against Xiaoyan. Suddenly, Xiaoyang's eyes became dazzled. A giddy feeling was emitted from within his mind. This giddiness lasted for a moment. After Xiaoyang finally recovered, he suddenly discovered that the surrounding environment had undergone a drastic change. Brilliant flames filled his eyes. Undoubtedly, this was a sea of fire. Moreover, the sea of fire was extremely colorful. It was so bright that it caused one to be amazed. Heavenly flame, see her. Xiaoyang lowered his body. His hand gently grabbed at a purple flame, which had appeared. A familiar feeling rose into his heart as he involuntarily muttered, 3,000 burning flame. Xiaoyang opened his stride and walked into this sea of fire, where many different heavenly flames had gathered. While he walked, these flames began to cluster around him. Their manner was as though they had great affinity with him. It seems that your constitution is greatly welcomed by the heavenly flames. Xiaoyang was slowly walking when an elderly voice, which contained some laughter, suddenly resounded over this sea of fire. This sudden voice caused Xiaoyang to be slightly startled. He hurriedly lifted his head and looked at a sea of fire a short distance away. Flames had gathered on that spot. It turned into a huge flame bud that slowly bloomed. An elderly figure in deep-colored robe appeared in Xiaoyang's eyes. The elderly figure was wearing a deep-colored robe. His expression did not reveal any uniqueness. If one was to ignore his multicolored bright hair, he would appear little different from those ordinary elders. At this moment, the old man was seated within a flower bud. His elderly face wore an unknown smile as he stared at Xiaoyang. Xiaoyang had already seen this figure many times. However, those whom he had met were either an illusory figure or a fake. This time around, however, Xiaoyang understood in his heart that this was the true Qiu, ancient god. Perhaps this might merely be a remnant shadow, or a soul fragment, but regardless of what the case was, this person was the legendary last elite Do Di on the Do Qi continent. This junior Xiaoyang greets elder ancient god. Xiaoyang suppressed the shock within his heart. He respectfully gave the old man seated in the flower bud a bow of someone from the younger generation. It seems that the mansion that I have left behind has been opened. Qiu, ancient god, smiled faintly. He waved his hand and the sea of flame in front of him rose to form a fire flower bud. Sit. Xiaoyang did not put up any act upon hearing this. His body flashed, and he sat down in that fire flower bud. Xiaoyang felt emotions surging in his heart now that he was observing this legendary person at such a close proximity. Only at this moment did he realize that the brilliant long hair of the Qiu, ancient god, actually had faint fire seedlings rising from it. Immediately, he came to a comprehension. Zhu Kuan had mentioned that the Qiu, ancient god, was a heavenly flame to begin with. He had only evolved after devouring the other 21 types of heavenly flames on the heavenly flame ranking. Subsequently, he trained for an extremely long period of time before reaching the Do Di class. After Xiaoyang roughly glanced at the number of colors on those long hair, he discovered that there were coincidentally 21 of them. Has there been any new Do Di appearing on the current Do Qi continent? The Qiu, ancient god, looked at Xiaoyang as he smilingly inquired. Elder is the last elite Do Di on the Do Qi continent until now. No elite Do Di had appeared after you. Xiaoyang hesitated for a moment before replying. As expected, the The Qiushi ancient god was not overly surprised at this reply. Instead, he nodded gently. Is Elder aware of the reason for this? I have once heard my ancestors say that the current Do-Chi continent seems to have a missing mysterious energy as compared to the ancient times. Xiaoyang could not resist his curiosity as he asked. Ha ha, your ancestor is rather capable. He is actually able to discover this. The Qiushi ancient god was a little startled upon hearing this. He laughed. This is indeed the case. With the flow of time, the current Do-Chi continent had begun to lack something. This is the critical factor in advancing to the Do-Di class. Otherwise, regardless of how outstanding one's talent is, one could only stop before the sky. What is missing? Xiaoyang frowned and softly asked. Origin. The Qiushi ancient god gently uttered a seemingly deep and unfathomable word. Origin. During the ancient times, some experts refer to this thing as origin qi. This is a mysterious energy that was formed with the world. Only after absorbing the origin qi will one be able to successfully break through the barrier to the Do-Di class. The Qiushi ancient god nodded slightly and replied. Every plane would have some origin qi being formed when it was created. However, origin qi cannot be created again. In other words, every origin qi exhausted would lead to it being diminished in this world. Elite Do-Di is an existence that surpassed this world. The birth of every Do-Di would greatly exhaust quite a lot of origin qi. In the face of this expenditure without replenishment, it would eventually reach a point where nothing remain. This is the reason why the Do-Chi continent no longer produces any Do-Di. This is because the current Do-Chi continent no longer has any origin qi. Xiaoyang laughed bitterly. This was indeed the case of the predecessors enjoying and the descendants suffering. The so-called origin qi had been completely exhausted by the ancient people. This had resulted in some problems that had to be borne by the subsequent generation. Someone has already obtained the D-tier embryonic pill that Elder has left behind. Currently, that person is engaging in a massacre and forcefully extracting energy in order to complete that D-tier embryonic pill. Xiaoyang laughed bitterly before refocusing on the main topic. No matter what had happened in the past, the thing that he needed to consider now was how to advance into the Do-Di class and stop Hun Tendi. The D-tier embryonic pill contain a trace of origin qi. If that person is really able to complete the final step, it would not be impossible for him to advance into the Do-Di class. The Qiushi ancient god laughed. He immediately looked at Xiaoyang and said, I am aware of your motive in coming here. Xiaoyang's expression was grave. He cupped his hands together and said, I hope that Elsa will aid me. This could be considered a great calamity of the Do-Chi continent. I am not really interested about whether there is a calamity, or otherwise. You should perhaps be aware of my identity, the Qiushi ancient god laughed. However, since you are able to come to this place, you are naturally the most suitable person to inherit my inheritance. If you can. Elder, thank you for your favor. Xiaoyang rejoiced. Ha ha. Qiushi ancient god smiled and waved his hand. He suddenly beckoned Xiaoyang. A cluster of pink flame immediately rose from within the latter's body. Finally, it turned into a fire baby as it appeared in the former's hand. It was little Yi. Purifying demonic lotus flame, it has been a long time since we have met. The Qiushi ancient god looked at little Yi in his hand. He laughed softly and said. Little Yi's small face contained an iciness and hatred as it stared at the Qiushi ancient god. However, it did not say anything. There was a lost expression flashing over its small face. From the looks of it, it appeared to be unable to clearly remember the distant past. The only thing that it knew was that his feelings towards this person in its heart was a mixture of fear and complicated emotions. It looks like you still hate me greatly. Tuo Shi ancient god was unconcerned about the emotion in little Yi's eyes. He turned his eyes towards Xiaoyang and said, "There is a feeling that I am familiar with in your body. If I guess correctly, you should have practiced a mysterious qi method that can devour heavenly flames, right?" Xiaoyang was startled. Immediately, he understood that it was impossible to keep any secret in front of this person's eyes. Subsequently, he nodded quietly. That qi method is not bad. Back then, I only managed to achieve my future success because of it. Qiu Shi ancient god laughed. Elder is actually the creator of the flame mantra. Xiaoyang's expression was slightly altered. It was unexpected that the mysterious qi method was actually created by Qiu Shi ancient god. However, this did make sense. Only such a person could create this mysterious qi method. Ha ha, you have guessed wrongly. The flame mantra that you spoke of is not created by me. When my soul and intelligence was formed back then, I had coincidentally found this qi method in my lost state. This had resulted in me undergoing some changes. Come to think of it, this qi method had been of a great help to me. I am also quite curious about its creator. However, I have never met him. Qiu Shi ancient god laughed. It is really difficult when pondering one's fate. Perhaps the both of us could be barely considered to be from the same sect. Xiaoyang widened his mouth. His heart was extremely shaken. It was unexpected that the flame mantra actually had such a relation to the Qiu Shi ancient god. However, he was unaware of just what kind of outstanding person the creator of this unbelievable qi method was to create it. Ha ha, it has been many years since I have talked to someone. I have spoken a lot of unnecessary things today. The Qiu Shi ancient god flicked his finger gently. The endless brilliant sea of fire suddenly shook. Finally, a fire dragon surged and agglomerated into a fist-sized brilliant lotus. Many fire seedling rose on the surface of the lotus. My inheritance is in this place. Whether you can reach the Do D class depends on your own fate. This video will end here.